Coming up on Messenger, we'll start with some exciting updates from the Ontario Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, followed by No Cap Straight Talk, where Pastor Sean and Auntie Leanne tackle real-life questions. Then, Pastor Edwin Martin will share inspiring stories from the 2024 International Pathfinder Camporee. Finally, we'll dive into the incredible journey of It Is Written Canada with hosts Mike and René Lemon. Stay tuned for a thoughtful and inspiring episode. Hello and welcome to Messenger. I'm Adrianna, and this month we're focusing on the prophet Jeremiah. One of the most powerful verses from his story is Jeremiah 29, verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord, plans to give you hope and a future. This verse serves as a reminder that God understands our desires and dreams. He has a plan in place to guide us toward success and hope. All he asks is trust in him. At Messenger, the goal is to share this message of hope and faith. Support can come through prayer or by giving a donation through Agents of Hope. This helps continue the mission of spreading God's love and encouragement. You can donate online by visiting agentsofhope.ca. Give through debit, credit, Apple Pay, or Google Pay. E-transfers are also accepted at agentsofhope@hopetv.ca. You can mail a check payable to the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Canada, to Hope Channel Canada, 1148 King Street East, Oshawa, Ontario, L1H1H8. Or give us a call at 1-855-4HOPE-TV. That is 1-855-446-7388. Thank you for being part of this journey. Together, let's keep sharing God's love and hope with the world. We have an exciting show planned for you today. Let's start with some highlights from the Ontario Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. Thanks to the hard work of the Camp Ministries team, this past camp season was filled with meaningful experiences and connections. The Seventh-day Adventist Church in Canada is divided into provincial offices called conferences. Joining us is Jason Perkins, the Director of Camp Ministries for the Ontario Conference. He oversees both Camp Frenda and Camp New Lowell. Jason, welcome to Messenger.
Thank you, Adrianna. Happy to be here.
Let's dive right in. How did the camp season go for you this year? Can you share how many kids attended the camps?
Sure. So this was my first official summer as the newly appointed camp director, and we saw a little decrease in the numbers based on camporee, and we knew a lot of attendees that normally come to camp would be going to the camporee in Wyoming. So this summer we saw probably approximately 400 campers from the range of junior camp to teen camp too.
It sounds like it was a busy and exciting season. Was there a specific activity or an interaction with the kids that left a significant impact on you personally?
I'm glad you asked. I think this summer there was a massive movement at the camp where a number of campers and even staff saw the working of the Holy Spirit in their life, and that did impact me specifically, as Camp Frenda has been a foundational or pivotal part in the ministry, which is bringing people, young people, to a relationship with Jesus. So we had approximately 14 baptisms over the course of 2 weeks, and that was very powerful for the staff and the campers to witness, and me specifically.
That's wonderful. Looking ahead, what are your hopes for next year's camp season? Are there any changes or new additions you're planning to implement?
I think we're looking at, again, an influx of possibly more campers than we've had this previous summer, as well as possibly introducing some new camp activities. We did a poll of current campers that we had up at Camp Finder this summer and saw which classes they liked, which classes they might be interested in if we implemented them. So we're hoping to bring in some new activities, new fun classes, and again, go back to using some of the ones that are the favorites of the campers.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Jason, for sharing your experiences and insights with us today. We're excited to see what's in store for the camps next year, and we wish you all the best. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hello everyone, my name is Tiffany Campbell-Daly from Agents of Hope, and I hope that you're doing well. I wanted to take a moment to thank you for taking your time to watch the Messenger program with Adrianna Joy Lewis. Your support means so much to us, and we hope you have been inspired by the stories that have been shared so far. Be sure to catch each new episode on Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Pacific Time. I also wanted to share with you how you can join this movement and become an agent of hope. Most importantly, we desire your prayers. Please remember those who are involved with Hope Channel Canada and the production of its programs, as well as the different initiatives we will have launching throughout the country, and for the hearts of people all across Canada to be open to learning that in Jesus, there is more to life. We also appreciate any time that you have to spare in order to volunteer with one of our projects. Please feel free to contact us at either agentsofhope@hopetv.ca or visit agentsofhope.ca to have your questions answered. Lastly, your financial support would be greatly appreciated, and any amount makes a huge difference in impacting Canadians. Please visit agentsofhope.ca so that you can donate online via debit, credit, Google Pay, or Apple Pay. If you prefer to donate offline, you can e-transfer us at agentsofhope@hopetv.ca or mail a check to Hope Channel Canada at the following address: Hope Channel Canada, 1148 King Street East, Oshawa, Ontario, L1H1H8. Thank you once again for joining us on this journey, this exciting journey.
Welcome to another episode of Straight Talk, where we answer your important life questions from a biblical and faith-centered perspective.
That's right. Today's question is one many of you may relate to, especially if you're trying to figure out what's healthy for your mind, your body, and your spirit. Let's get right into it.
A young person wrote in saying, "Dear Pastor Sean and Auntie Leanne, I have been vaping non-tobacco substances for about a year. It's not as harmful as smoking or using tobacco, and I like the different flavors. People tell me I shouldn't vape, but I tell them there is no tobacco in it, so there's no harm. What do you think?"
Well, first of all, thank you for being so open and reaching out with your question. First, it's important to recognize that just because something isn't classified as addictive doesn't mean it's harmless. Vaping, even though it doesn't involve tobacco, can still become a habit that fills a void or distracts you from addressing something deeper going on in your life. For some, vaping might be a way to cope with stress or feel a sense of emptiness. When we rely on things like this to make us feel better, even if they seem harmless, they can keep us from growing emotionally and spiritually.
I think the Bible speaks very clearly on this. In 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 12, it says, "I have the right to do anything, but I will not be mastered by anything." Just because something seems okay or non-addictive, it doesn't mean it's beneficial or that we should let it control us. The verse reminds us that even permissible things shouldn't take over our lives. So even if vaping feels like it's not harmful, it could be preventing you from growing in other areas of your life, including your relationship with God. Ask yourself, what's behind this habit? Is there a stress, a hurt, or an emptiness you're trying to cope with? It's important to reflect, maybe even journal or pray about it.
Absolutely, Pastor Sean. See, I love how it puts it in John chapter 6:35, where Jesus says, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. That's a powerful reminder that Jesus fills the deepest need of our hearts. So when we feel that there's something missing, he is always ready to fill that space with love and purpose.
That's right. So how can you move forward? First, reflect and ask yourself, what am I really trying to satisfy? It could be loneliness, boredom, or anxiety. Bringing those feelings to God through prayer can really make a big difference.
Also, you should talk to someone you trust, maybe your pastor, a youth leader, or even friends and family who care about your well-being. Sometimes just sharing your struggles helps to lighten the load.
Remember, your health matters to God, and He wants to help you make the best choices for your body, mind, and spirit.
Ultimately, you have the power to make your own choices, but I encourage you to bring this to God and let Him show you a healthier path forward. You are loved, and your health truly matters to Him.
That's right. We'll be praying for you and all the other viewers struggling with similar issues. Remember, God is always with you, guiding you to a more fulfilling life.
Thank you for tuning in, and don't hesitate to reach out with your questions.
On behalf of Auntie Leanne and myself, goodbye for now,
And we'll see you next time on Straight Talk.
where we keep it real.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ivaldo Vicente, and I'm the editor of the Messenger magazine. I trust you've been enjoying the programming on Hope Channel Canada so far and have been inspired to bring hope to your community as well. Thank you for watching each new episode of The Messenger on Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. We're excited for this partnership in bringing our magazine to life in a different way. I do want to take a moment to remind you of all the ways that you can watch The Messenger. You can visit hopetv.ca or on our YouTube channel at Hope Channel Canada. You can also view it on the free Hope Channel app, which can be downloaded onto your phone or tablet via the App Store or Google Play Store. You can also download the app on your smart TV via Roku or the Amazon App Store. And make sure to select Hope Channel Canada. Finally, we're also on cable TV under channel 893 on Eastlink, Delta and Coastal, and also channel 94 on City West. Now, lastly, I do want to share that as you're watching these programs, you may be wondering how you can get to know more about Jesus and how He can bring more to your life. As Hope Channel Canada, we always say there is more to life. And so if you want to find about that more, we have a Bible study platform called Hope Study that can help you do just that. Please visit hopestudy.ca to learn more and register yourself. Thank you again for watching and joining us in this movement of letting Canadians know that with Jesus, there is more to life.
Hey Pathfinders, it's Pastor Martin here. This summer from August 5th to 11th, our Canadian Pathfinders had an amazing opportunity. We attended Camporee in Gillette, Wyoming. Can you imagine? We were there with over 60,000 other Pathfinders from more than 90 different countries around the world. It was like one big family reunion. Pathfinders and leaders from all over the globe came together to worship. We learned and had fun together. Camporee wasn't just about meeting new friends and trading pins, although that was really fun too. The theme this year was Believe the Promise. Every evening, we gathered under the night sky. We watched an incredible live play. This year, the play told the story of Moses. He was a true hero of faith. From the very start, we learned how God was watching over Moses. When he was just a baby, it was a very scary time. Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, was afraid. He thought the Israelites were becoming too strong. So he ordered that all baby boys be taken away. But God had a special plan for Moses. Even though it was dangerous, God kept him safe. Moses' mother hid him in a basket. She placed him in the river, trusting that God would protect him. And guess what? God did. Pharaoh's own daughter found Moses. She raised him as her son. Isn't that amazing? But that wasn't the end of the story. Moses grew up in Pharaoh's palace. He always knew that God had a bigger purpose for him. He knew that the Israelites, his true people, were suffering. They were slaves in Egypt, but God hadn't forgotten them. Although it must have felt that way sometimes. Moses was chosen by God to lead the Israelites out of Egypt and into freedom. But it wasn't easy. There were times when it seemed like everything was going wrong. The Israelites were scared. Even Moses wasn't sure how things would turn out. But Moses trusted God. Even when the challenges seemed too big, he believed in God's promise. He remembered that God had a plan. Just like Jeremiah says in the Bible, "For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord, plans to give you hope and a future." Moses held on to that hope. Because of his faith, God gave him the strength to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. They were finally free. They started a new life, just like God had promised. Pathfinders, we can learn so much from Moses' story. Just like him, we might face times when things seem tough. We might feel afraid, but we need to remember that God is always with us. He was with Moses. God has a plan for each of our lives. He wants us to trust Him even when we can see how everything will work out. So whenever you're feeling uncertain or scared, think about Moses. Remember how God kept him safe in that little basket. He guided Moses through all the challenges he faced. If we trust God like Moses did, He will guide us too. He will help us through any challenges we face. Let's believe in God's promises and trust that He has an amazing plan for each one of us.
Thank you so much, Pastor Martin. Now, join me as we discuss the incredible story of It Is Written Canada, a media ministry that has touched countless lives. I'm joined by Mike and René Lemon, hosts of It Is Written Canada. Together, we'll explore the beginnings of this ministry and the man behind it, Henry Feyerabend. You can also read more about this inspiring story in the September issue of Messenger magazine. Thank you for joining us, Mike and René.
Thank you for having us.
Henry Feyerabend transitioned from traditional preaching to media ministry in the 1970s. What inspired him to take that leap and begin reaching people through television and radio?
So Henry always had three big interests, he said, and those interests were electronics, music, and preaching. And he said throughout his life, those were the three big interests. It was his uncle Didi, really, who spoke. He was an evangelist. He was a multi-talented man, but he was also interested in the voice of prophecy. On HMS Richards, he would listen on the radio, so he was interested in radio. And so for him, he was interested in reaching people, and he had dreams of reaching people. And so when he ended up going to Brazil, he was on the Voice of Prophecy radio program in Brazil. He was singing, he was a musician. He was interested in the electronic side, and he was also on television. And so the leap of faith was something that really was in his heart from a very young age, Adrianna.
That's great. Henry's idea to start a Portuguese television program came from a simple observation during a church member's visit. Can you tell us how this moment led to the development of the program and what early challenges he faced?
Yes, Adrianna. So Henry went to visit a Portuguese family, and when he got to the living room, the lady was watching TV with the sound off. And so Pastor Henry said, "Is there something wrong with your television?" And she said, "No, Pastor, I don't understand English. I just put the sound off." And it was like a light bulb moment for him. And he thought, you know what, if only I could get the gospel in Portuguese on TV. But here was the problem. He had to try and secure airtime to do that.
Right.
So he went to this Italian person that was selling airtime, and he said to him, "Can you sell me some airtime?" And this Italian man said, "Absolutely not." So he found a Portuguese person, and he asked this Portuguese man, and he said no. But you know, Henry was persistent. He did not give up, and he kept on coming back. The man would say no, and Henry was there again. No, Henry was there. Eventually this man said, "Henry, what can I do to get you off my back?" And Henry said, "Sell me some airtime." And so he said, "Okay, I'll sell you 5 minutes once a week for 13 weeks in a row, but it's going to cost you $4,000. Now, Adrianna, at that time, $4,000 was the same price as a brand new car. And I bet this man didn't think that Henry would say yes, but he did. He took a leap of faith, signed the contract, and as soon as he left the building, he said, "What have I done?"
Wow. Starting a media ministry is no easy task, especially with financial hurdles. Henry secured airtime for the show, but didn't have the money at first. How did his faith help shape It Is Written Canada in those early days?
So I think it really is a leap of faith, because he had a small handful of members, and they were all blue-collar workers. And so how does he get this money? And he knew he didn't have the money, $4,000, like a brand new car, and he would only get 5 minutes on for 3 months. But he said, well, maybe I should go back and just tell him, no, I made a mistake. But he's like, why don't I just pray about it? So he went to the church that they were renting, which was a Ukrainian church. And they gave him a little place for an office. And so he was praying there, and he thought to himself, I should go and look in the mailbox. So he went to the mailbox, and he was thinking to himself, well, who even knows that we're here? Because we just came here. And he found a letter in there from the United States. A friend in the United States, a Dr. Latimer, had sent him this letter. So that day he signed the contract, and that day he received the letter. So this was the days before e-transfers, and so he pulled out that letter, looked inside, opened it up. There was a note in there saying, Henry, I was thinking of you today, and I thought I should send you this. And out fell a check for $1,000.
Wow.
So right away he knew, okay, God is blessing this, because this must have been sent at least 2 weeks before. So to arrive exactly that day. And within that week, he got 3 more checks for $1,000, unsolicited. So he knew that God was behind this. And so he was just praying for this. And so he had answers to prayer. It was a leap of faith. But yes, God was blessing it, and he confirmed that with sending that money.
That's amazing. Henry's first broadcast had an immediate impact, with 29 families requesting Bible studies. How did he and his team manage this early success and grow the ministry from there?
Well, Adrianna, it was God. It was all God, because it was Pastor Henry Firerobin, Tracy Bravo and her parents, and just a few church members. And together with God's guidance and leadership and strength, they were able to do Bible studies. And sometimes they would be doing Bible studies throughout the night or late into the night. So God gave them strength.
Yeah, they had so many people requesting Bible studies, Bibles, that they're giving away free Bibles, that they just couldn't keep up. And eventually they would stop making those offers because they just had too many people interested. And the growth of the church was just exponential. It just exploded. So literally, as René said, they would be up. They'd go to this house, and some people would just keep them up all night. And so there was an explosion of interest right away. So people were interested, and so you had a huge community of people who were now going to church. Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see how a small step of faith turned into a national ministry. In our next segment, we'll explore how It Is Written Canada expanded beyond its humble beginnings to touch lives across the world. Stay tuned. Thank you for joining us today. We've heard stories of hope and faith, from the inspiring Pathfinder Camporee to the powerful journey of It Is Written Canada. Just as God used Jeremiah to remind us that he has a plan, he's working through each of us to spread his light. If today's discussion has inspired you, consider subscribing to Canadian Adventist Messenger magazine. You can receive a free subscription through your local Seventh-day Adventist Church in Canada, or opt for a yearly subscription for just $20. You can also make a difference by becoming an agent of hope and supporting this ministry. Your participation helps us continue spreading God's love and message of hope. To donate, visit agentsofhope.ca, where you can give by debit, credit, Apple Pay, or Google Pay. E-transfers are also accepted at agentsofhope@hopetv.ca. You can mail a check payable to the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Canada to the following address: Hope Channel Canada, 1148 King Street East, Oshawa, Ontario, L1H1H8. Or give us a call at 1-855-4HOPE-TV. That is 1-855-446-7388. Thank you for being with us. And until next time, keep spreading hope and being a messenger in your community.